I want to say something that might make you uncomfortable. And I want you to stay with me because the discomfort is the point. Okay? Working hard is not a virtue.
It is a tool. And like every tool, its value depends entirely on whether it is being used correctly. A hammer used on the wrong material, it produces nothing.
Worse than nothing, it damages both the material and the person using it. And steady effort directed at the wrong thing, without leverage, without careful planning, without understanding of how value is actually created in the modern world, it produces exactly the same result.
Exhaustion, frustration, and the bitter, confusing experience of having given everything and received far less than it deserved. Today, we make the case clearly, completely in English. Not the case against effort. Effort is essential.
Without genuine effort, nothing is built. But the case against the belief, the deeply held, rarely examined belief, that steady effort alone is sufficient. That if you just try harder, stay later, give more, the outcomes will eventually match the effort.
For most people, in most situations, in the world as it actually works, that belief is simply not true. And the cost of holding it is the cost of a life spent working hard toward the wrong things, without the strategic intelligence that makes steady effort actually worth what it costs. Today, we change that.
Stay with us. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Speak Unstoppable, the podcast where we help you speak English naturally and confidently through real, honest conversations.
I'm John.
And I'm Maria. So happy you're here with us today. This episode is for B1 to B2 learners, intermediate to upper intermediate level English. One tap? Do not miss them. Good. Now, let's talk about something that almost nobody will say to you directly, but that you absolutely need to hear. How are you feeling today, John? Honestly, slightly rebellious, because this topic challenges something I was taught to believe. Absolutely. And examining it honestly was uncomfortable and necessary.
Same. Before we continue, thank you, really, for having the courage to examine something this fundamental. Let's go.
Okay, a question. And I want you to think about it seriously.
What question?
Think about the hardest working person you know, the one who is first in and last out.
Who never stops, who gives everything every day with genuine commitment and genuine effort. And think about their financial and professional position honestly.
Is it proportional to their effort? Is what they have built, the security, the income, the options, the life, is it equivalent to the level of work they have invested? For most people, when they answer this honestly, the answer is no.
The hardest working person they know is not the most financially secure, is not living the life most equivalent to their effort. And this gap between effort invested and outcome received, it is not a mystery. It is not unfair luck. It is not that the world does not reward steady effort.
It is that the world does not reward steady effort as much as it rewards specific other things. Things that steady effort alone, without these elements, cannot produce. Today, we identify every one of them.
Dot. Let's start with the history, because understanding where a belief comes from, it helps us examine whether it still applies. The belief that steady effort is sufficient, that if you work hard enough, the outcomes will come.
It was formed in a specific economic era, an era of industrial production, where value was created through physical labor, where more hours of physical work genuinely produced more output. More output produced more income. In that era, steady effort was directly correlated with production, and production was directly correlated with income.
The equation was simple and mostly true. Correlated means having a mutual relationship. When one increases, the other increases.
But the economy has changed fundamentally. The most valuable things in the modern economy are not produced by physical hours of labor. Intellectual property, platform businesses, network effects, brand, influence, algorithm-driven systems that work while the creator sleeps.
These things, the things that produce the most significant wealth in the modern world, they are not produced by more hours of harder work. They are produced by leverage, by strategic positioning, by creating something that works without your constant presence. Leverage means the use of a relatively small force to produce a much larger effect.
In business, creating something that produces value beyond the hours you personally invest. And the person who works hard, relentlessly, loyally, endlessly, within a system that does not provide leverage, they produce exactly the output of their hours. Nothing more, nothing less.
While the person who works strategically, who identifies and builds leverage into their work, they produce output that compounds, that grows without requiring proportional additional effort. The effort invested similar, the outcome entirely different. And the difference is not intelligence or talent. It is the presence or absence of strategic thinking about where to direct the effort. Lesson 1. Steady effort in a low-leverage situation produces a linear result. Steady effort in a high-leverage situation produces exponential outcomes. The effort level is often identical. The outcome is not. Okay, if steady effort alone is insufficient, what are the things that actually create the outcomes most people are working toward? 5 specific elements, each one more valuable than additional hours of effort. Each one something that strategic thinking produces. Steady effort alone does not. Element 1, direction.
Working hard in the wrong direction is worse than not working at all because it produces nothing useful and it exhausts you, leaving you with less capacity to correct course. Direction means knowing what you are actually trying to achieve and choosing your efforts specifically for that destination. And most people, honestly, are working toward a vague destination.
Success, financial security, a better life. These are not directions. They are feelings.
A direction is specific. I want to generate passive income of X amount within 3 years through Y method. Specific, measurable, directed. An effort directed at a specific destination.
It produces outcomes that vague effort never can, because you can evaluate whether you are moving toward it and adjust if you are not. Element 2, leverage. We described leverage above, but let's make it concrete.
Leverage in professional journey terms. Building skills that are rare and valuable, rather than common and replaceable. Being the person who can do something that few people can do at the level you can do it.
Because common skills, however applied with steady effort, produce common compensation. Rare skills, even without extreme steady effort, produce disproportionate compensation. Because supply is low and demand is high.
Leverage in business terms. Creating a product, a system, or a platform that can serve many people simultaneously without requiring your personal presence for each one. The consultant who works with one client at a time, trading hours for money, works hard and earns proportionally.
The consultant who creates a course, a framework, a tool, a system that serves hundreds of clients with the same underlying intellectual work earns disproportionately because the leverage multiplies the return on each hour invested. Element 3, positioning. Positioning means where you are in a market, in an organization, in a network. Being in the right place, where your contribution is most visible, most valued, most rewarded. Two people with identical skills. One is positioned where their skills are visible to decision makers. One is not. The first gets the opportunities, the recognition, the advancement. The second works equally hard and wonders why the recognition does not match the effort.
Position matters, and strategic positioning, deliberately placing yourself where your contribution can be seen and valued. It is often more important than the quality of the contribution itself. This is uncomfortable to accept, but it is consistently true.
Element 4, connections. Your network is your net worth. This is a cliché because it is consistently true.
The opportunities that most significantly change professional trajectories, they almost always come through connections, through someone who knows your work, who trusts your judgment, who thinks of you when an opportunity appears. And connections, genuine, mutually valuable connections, they are not built by working harder at your desk. They are built by investing time in the people who can create opportunities and being genuinely useful to them.
Not transactional, genuine, over time, without immediate expectation, but with the understanding that in the long run, the connections you invest in are among the highest return investments available. Element 5, timing. Being in the right place with the right skills at the right moment.
It is not luck. Not entirely. It is the product of paying attention to where things are moving and positioning yourself in that direction before most people see it.
The industries, the skills, the opportunities that are growing, they reward early movers disproportionately. And identifying them before they are obvious requires strategic thinking, not harder work in the direction you are already pointing. Okay, let's get even more specific, because there are 3 specific traps that steady effort without careful planning consistently produces, and most people are in at least one of them right now.
Trap 1, the busyness trap. Being busy is not the same as being productive. Being occupied is not the same as making progress. And steady effort, when it is rewarded with more work, more responsibility, more demands without corresponding increase in compensation or leverage, it becomes a trap. The more I do, the more is expected of me.
And the more that is expected, the more I must do. And the cycle continues without producing proportional advancement. This is the busyness trap.
And the exit, counterintuitively, is not working harder. It is stopping, assessing, and deliberately choosing which steady effort to do. Not all steady effort has equal value.
Characteristic 3. It is positioned for recognition. Smart work happens where it can be seen, where the people who determine outcomes have visibility into it, where its value can be assessed and rewarded. Not invisible effort in the background, however excellent, but excellent effort in places where excellence is noticed.
Characteristic 4. It leverages other resources. The smart worker does not try to do everything themselves. They identify what they uniquely contribute and leverage other people's skills, tools, systems, and time for everything else.
Delegation, collaboration, technology. These are not shortcuts from steady effort. They are multipliers of the steady effort that matters most.
Characteristic 5. It is sustainable. Steady effort that cannot be sustained, that burns the worker out, that consumes health, connections, and mental capacity. It is ultimately unproductive because the worker who breaks down produces nothing after the breakdown. Smart work is calibrated.
It is demanding when demand produces proportional outcomes, and it protects the capacity to work effectively over decades, not just years. Okay, real English phrases for talking about smart work, leverage, positioning, and strategic effort in professional and everyday contexts.
Category 1, describing smart versus steady effort. I'm trying to be more intentional about where I direct my effort, not just how much effort I give. There's a difference between being busy and being productive. I'm working on making that distinction clearer in my own work. I've been thinking about leverage, about which of my activities actually compound over time versus which ones consume effort without building anything. Category 2, talking about positioning and careful planning. I'm thinking carefully about visibility, making sure the work I'm most proud of is seen by the people who determine what happens next. I've been investing in connections that will open opportunities I cannot currently access. Not transactionally, but genuinely. The direction I'm working in, I review it regularly to make sure it is still the right direction, not just the familiar one. Category 3, challenging the steady effort narrative. Steady effort is necessary, but not sufficient. I'm working on the sufficient part. I used to think working longer was working harder. I'm learning that the most productive thing I can do sometimes is stop and think about what I'm doing.
And spending equal effort on low-value and high-value tasks is one of the most expensive mistakes a professional can make. Trap 2, the loyalty trap. The belief that sustained loyalty, staying long, giving much, demonstrating commitment over years, will eventually be rewarded proportionally.
And sometimes it is. Some organizations genuinely reward loyalty with advancement, security, and compensation. But many, most in the modern economy, reward performance and leverage and positioning over loyalty because they are operating in competitive markets where what matters is output, not tenure.
And the person who waits for loyalty to be rewarded in an organization that does not value it waits a very long time while working very hard for a return that never materializes in the proportion expected. Trap 3, the perfectionism trap. Steady efforters, conscientious, committed, standards-driven steady efforters.
They are particularly vulnerable to this one. The belief that if you just do this thing better, make it more complete, more polished, more thorough, the result will eventually be recognized and rewarded. But in most competitive environments, speed and direction matter more than perfection.
The person who ships a good product faster, who gets their idea to market sooner, who applies for the possibility before it closes, often wins over the person who produces something perfect too late. Done is better than perfect.
This English expression, it describes one of the most important strategic insights for steady efforters who have fallen into the perfectionism trap. Not do bad work, but complete work that is good enough to test, to submit, to share, and then improve based on real feedback, rather than working endlessly toward a perfection that the market will evaluate differently than you imagine. Okay?
Because this episode is not an argument for laziness or for abandoning effort. It is an argument for directed effort, strategic effort. Effort invested with intelligence about where it actually